Sharp and stylish, Starfleet uniforms were designed to be both functional and to put Starfleet's best foot forward when encountering alien species, while at the same time fostering a sense of unity among the officers and crew themselves. Hello and welcome to Trek Facts, a fun and fast informational video series on the fundamentals of Star Trek. In today's episode, Part 2, we're taking a look at Starfleet uniforms from the years 2270 to 2349. Though the styles would change often throughout the various eras of Starfleet's galactic exploration, Starfleet uniforms would always attempt to be the most comfortable yet professional designs Starfleet had to offer at any given time. With the redesign of the refit Constitution-class USS Enterprise in the early 2270s, Starfleet decided it was time for a new uniform, one that would match the new era of technological breakthroughs. Deciding on more natural and muted tones, these uniforms would come in various styles and colors, allowing a more personal experience for each of the officers. Designed in both a jumpsuit and shirt and pants style design, these uniforms would be available in gray, white, brown, or beige. The rank insignia, depending on the uniform style, would either be located on the shoulder straps or on the uniform sleeves themselves. On the chest of the uniform's left side would see the Starfleet Delta make a reappearance, and this time to stay. And although Starfleet Command and all ships would adopt this symbol fleet-wide, stations such as Epsilon 9 would continue to have their own unique style of badge until later in the decade. Also unique to this style of uniform was a new technology known as a life support monitor. It was believed that this new technology would allow far less fatal injuries, as the computer could now inform a medical team of any injuries any officer aboard ship received. Though in theory this was an excellent addition, in practice it did not function as intended, and not being able to perfect the technology, the belt would eventually be scrapped in favor of refined internal sensors. Flag officers such as admirals wore a two-piece version of the uniform with dark gray pants and a matching dark gray and white flared shirt with a high collar. The duty jumpsuit was a one-piece uniform with integrated footwear. This footwear would also match the uniform color, giving the illusion of the uniform being entirely one piece. Some of these uniforms even had pockets to allow for special equipment to be carried around with the officer in the event of emergency. Further variants on the uniform included a short-sleeved version with a plunging V-neck, a two-piece tunic version, a two-piece tunic version with a belt, and even a wraparound tunic. The Starfleet Delta would now see a circle paired with it underneath the Delta. That would be in the color of the department the officer was from. Engineers and medical staff also had their own versions of the new uniform. Medical staff uniforms were white in color, with a flared collar, and in place of the Delta, medical personnel were permitted to wear a specially designed medical pin. Engineering officers would either wear the standard uniform or a new protective uniform that would provide some protection against radiation should a malfunction in the engines be detected. These versions of the medical and engineering uniforms would actually survive until the mid-2340s, where the rest of these uniform styles would not. A special jacket for away missions was also designed, as well as a body armor uniform version to be worn by security officers. This body armor also included a helmet with a chin strap, and emblazoned on the forehead of the helmet was again the Starfleet Delta. Department colors for these uniforms are as follows: white for command, orange for the sciences division, green for the medical division, red for the engineering and maintenance divisions, yellow for the operations divisions, and gray for security divisions. Though an interesting design, these uniforms were simply not up to Starfleet standards. There were simply too many versions of the uniform, breaking the unified officer look about a starship. Add to that the uniform jumpsuit was very uncomfortable and did not leave much to the imagination, and Starfleet decided to take one more stab at designing a uniform with comfort and camaraderie in mind, which would present a unified front to all races any starship could encounter. And in 2278, this new uniform would make its debut and become the longest-lasting uniform design in Starfleet history. This new uniform had a double-breasted jacket in a dark red color over a white turtleneck undershirt. The pants were black trousers or a black skirt with division color stripes down both legs. The jacket itself was done in a flap style and could be worn open or closed depending on the officer's comfort level. To hold this flap securely in place was an over-the-shoulder strip on the right side which contained a clasp. The turtleneck undershirt, the stripes on the pants, the right shoulder stripe, and a stripe on the left sleeve all were in the color of the division that the wearer belonged to. The right shoulder strap also contained the officer's rank pin, and this pin would also be worn above the strip of fabric on the left arm. The strip of fabric itself would contain pips of either an oval design, denoted 5 years of service, or a round design that denoted 1 year of service. By combining these two styles of pips, an officer would mix and match to show how many years they had served in Starfleet. To finish off the uniform was a midsection belt that also contained the Starfleet Delta. The chest badge was also updated. Though still containing the Delta, on top of a circle, it was now made of gold, and under the unit was an elongated oval rectangle also outlined in gold with an inner white section. These badges no longer denoted divisions in any capacity, and for cadets or junior officers, a version of this badge without the under rectangle was also available. There was also a version of this uniform created for cadets and enlisted crew members. These were made in a jumpsuit style with tan-colored shoulders, and the rest of the uniform was in the same red color as the officers' jackets. The undershirt would either be a red turtleneck for trainees or a black shirt for enlisted crew members. Division colors for these uniforms appeared as tabs on both shoulders, while the rank pin was attached directly to the left sleeve. A special away team mission jacket variant was also designed. This jacket had a large, ribbed collar and a large amount of pockets for storing any equipment any away member might be required to carry with them. The rank pin on this jacket was on the right side, and a division color strip was on the left side close to the shoulder. A more formal bomber-style jacket, along with a vest, was also designed. Engineering officers also had a new style of uniform created. This uniform had a black vest with various pockets designed to hold engineering equipment. The vest could be worn over the turtleneck undershirt from the standard uniform, with the pants also from the standard uniform. The medical uniform from the early 2270s would be held over, only having the department-colored turtleneck being added underneath the medical jacket. There were also a few other medical variants added that were primarily used by nurses and medical underlings. Security guards would also continue to have their own variants of this uniform, including improved body armor, as well as blue-gray uniforms with white utility belts and a white cap. A tanned and/or charcoal gray uniform was also designed for planetary-specific operations. Department colors for this style of uniform were as follows: white for command, gray for science divisions as well as communications and navigation, yellow for operations and engineering divisions including the helm, light green for medical divisions, and dark green for security divisions. An excellent and bold style of uniform loved by all who wore it, this uniform would see very little change over the decades it was used. One change, however, occurred in the early 2320s when the turtleneck was removed in favor of a crewneck style shirt still in the department color of the crew member. And although used for almost 70 years, by the 2340s it was clear that it was time for Starfleet to update its uniforms, as this uniform was simply getting old and Starfleet did not want itself to appear as old as the uniform style. And in the next part of this series, we'll take a look at the newest revolutionary design for uniforms created by Starfleet.